There are no programmers in
5 years. So with kids who you are having, with Python lessons and so forth, maybe it's instead helping them to understand how to ask great questions or give great directions or prompts.
Yeah, like with this is a technological marvel that we sped up 100 times because we have amazing developers and we have communities of hundreds of thousands. I went before and I said, help me write some code to change the nature of inference from something called int8 to int4, which is only a year old, so it's not in the data set. And it figured it out, and it worked.
Figured it out. Awesome.
Straight out. I also to create asteroids in D3 with a high score thing, yeah. And I copy-pasted it, it worked, the game straight out. So again, we have to kind of think about this, and we have to think, but what can you do? Well, the answer is you can do anything now. Because a lot of the stuff that blocked you isn't there anymore. Any of you can now be creative. Any of you can now build systems. And so you build the systems that adhere to the unchanging demands of people to make their lives better. And that's value, and they'll pay you for that value.
We're all creators, and we had Will I Am last night at our picture dinner, who's just this incredible creative energy across.
Welcome back to the channel, folks. I hope you're having a great day. So this is going to be an interesting video today. Worldcoin is better than Bitcoin, right? And I know that rubs a lot of people the wrong way to think about how Worldcoin could be better than Bitcoin. In the opening of the video, we got to see the development team for ChatGPT, and what they're talking about is that within 5 years, there's not going to be any programmers, right? So if you're thinking about being a programmer, it might be time to look for another career. If you're already a programmer, it might be time to go into another field. And that is because the advancements of ChatGPT at the rate it's moving, any and everybody can create code now, right? Not only that, but by next year, ChatGPT will be on everybody's smart device, everybody's smartphone without internet access, right? Think about that for a minute. That means that without the internet, everybody's going to have access to this information, right? Forever, right? They're gonna have that. Now, why is this so important, and how does Worldcoin get into this? And it is because our viewpoints in cryptocurrency is very narrow. Many of us just jumped into cryptocurrency. We don't know what it's for. I don't think we understand that Bitcoin was the genesis of cryptocurrency and it was a stepping stone. But certainly Bitcoin pales in comparison to where the world's going, right? And I don't think that's debatable at all. Bitcoin has not only been outpaced by ChatGPT, as well as Ethereum and many others, but Bitcoin just hasn't satisfied development-wise, prosperity-wise, the masses of people out there that a lot of people thought cryptocurrency could do. And that's not the fault of Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin was meant to be the catalyst, right? Now, there are some people who believe Bitcoin is supposed to go on and do more, and I think it's reached the end of the road, right? And it's very important that you understand. Now, I am going to address all the concerns within Worldcoin that's coming out, whether some be myths or whether some be legitimate concerns. And I think there are some legitimate concerns. But we're going to give you all the details. All I'm seeing about Worldcoin right now is these kind of, I guess you could call them doomsday scenario videos. And I think everybody's just kind of following camp with that, following suit like that. Some of these people are just big people in the Bitcoin community that are stagnant and don't want to go anywhere else or think they don't have to. And that's not a good approach, I think, to take to this. What I think is going to happen is that technology is going to continue to move forward, and we're going to evolve into products like Worldcoin. I say like Worldcoin because Worldcoin has some problems. But even so, I believe it's still en route to be bigger than Bitcoin. So we're going to get into that a little bit, and we're going to explain that as we look at the Worldcoin white paper. So what's going on with the Worldcoin white paper? So what's happening with the Worldcoin white paper is that it's explaining how Worldcoin is basically trying to correct some of the problems that come naturally in association with the advancements of ChatGPT, right? This technology that's now basically putting all of these tremendous new abilities into everybody's hands, where people are going to have programs working for them, where there are going to be automation and jobs likely not available to people in the future, in the next few years or so. And so, where some are looking at this as a doomsday scenario, um, the reality of the situation is we're in this situation now. And so, many of these projects don't lend a solution over to it, right? So, WorldCoin is part of the process in order to try to balance things, I guess you could say. You could also say that WorldCoin is a great deal responsible for the problem. That is true. But the one thing I don't think we can do is just kind of ignore what we're going to do. And that is, basically don't have any solution at all for the problem. And that's what I'm hearing proposal wise from a lot of people's thought process and communities out there. Now, whereas a lot of us do like Bitcoin, what are some of the problems with Bitcoin? Well, number one, about 80% of Bitcoin is owned by only 1% of the network. There isn't a lot of economic prosperity being spread by Bitcoin. The usership is still rather small. It's being outpaced in 5 months. It's being outpaced way a great deal more by programs like ChatGPT. Um, in 5 months, something that's taken Bitcoin pushing into 2 decades now to get to where it is. So there's a lot of problems, and there are a lot of limits on Bitcoin. The overall problem is, how do we solve this problem effectively when our other solutions aren't doing that? And Bitcoin certainly is not doing that. The proposal with ChatGPT is, I believe they've already gotten over $140 million as startup. They're giving universal basic income, which is basically income across the globe, which is good marketing direction to get people excited, get people in it, using it. And we're certainly going to address the more darker concerns, or we're going to get into that. But again, as a reminder, I want you all to understand that you can't always throw the baby out with the bathwater, that there are some major concerns to some severe problems. And whereas some people say, oh, well, technology is going to create new jobs for people to do, I don't necessarily know if I subscribe to people are going to be able to do these jobs, or more humans are going to be needed to do them. In fact, I think less humans are going to be needed to do the same jobs, which means that the workforce will be catastrophically hurt. Even if only like 50% of the jobs went away, 30 to 50%, and they couldn't be replaced, that would be catastrophic to so many people's lives and the economy. But we're going to now address the dark side of WorldCoin. What are some of the problems? And discussing a little bit how it works, right? And we're looking at the white paper, and let's talk about something called the orb and the authentication. And we're going to get into that right now. All right, so now let's voyage into what could be the dystopian dark sides of WorldCoin. Here are some of the problems, right? It's using a technology called the orb, which they're taking retina scans, basically of your iris, right? And that is because, much like your fingerprints, an individual irises are quite unique, right? They have patterns that are so unique to each person that they basically become an identification system, right? You've seen all the various spy movies and such. Um, Now, once those pictures and data is collected, right, according to WorldCoin, they're destroyed. But some people believe that there could be vulnerabilities in the system to where it could be stored on centralized servers, to where it could be handed over to certain groups, conglomerates, or countries for whatever reason, right? In which case now everybody could end up under this one currency, and they're very fantastical views, where everybody's data is centralized to somebody controlling it, and so on and so forth, right? And so this is the concerns, right? This is very similar, and this is something they wouldn't necessarily believe facing Bitcoin, right? Because you're just using like the wallet addresses, right? Although Bitcoin is private but not anonymous. There's a big difference in something being private but not anonymous. Anonymity means you can't be found. They don't know who it is. Bitcoin is private, and in many ways, there are ways they can still detect who you are. Another argument against identification and it getting out and security concerns is like that. For a great deal of the population, we're learning that these aren't huge concerns because people already give up a lot of their data to Google. Billions of people give up their data to Google. They give it up to Facebook and so on. They are volunteering their information and data online all the time, and some are willing to trade it for money. And that's what Worldcoin is saying. They're saying we're willing to give you blah 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 amounts of money, and the coin itself is performing quite well. I think it hit Binance at like $3 and something. It's out $2 or something, right? But it is a free cryptocurrency project. And with ChatGPT, with the potential value it has and the potential value it's bringing in the WorldCoin, I think what excites many of us is this could be the first fully funded UBI that we've ever seen run before. The only other cryptocurrency project I thought would have been able to pull this off would be EOS, and they failed miserably at it. Bitcoin MYK, the project we spearheaded, I think it's the best, but unfortunately, Bitcoin MYK doesn't have big backers like Sam Altman and all these other famous tech people that put money into this thing, right? And that's very important, especially with something that in the beginning is going to have a lot of sell pressure as it grows, like something to do with basic income. Now, uh, let's talk about some of the myths and misconceptions about these products, and this is kind of taken from Vitalik Buterin's view on it, and that is that whereas there are concerns about these retina scans using this thing called the orb the iris, uh, he also said that uh, many aspects of how to deal with identifying unique people. And WorldCoin, they call it proof of personhood. We call it proof of participation in Bitcoin MYK because that's what you're looking at now, the Bitcoin MYK site, which basically uses social media verifications. We might call it the social media verification key. And there are other similar products that do that. Some take your pictures and put them online, but then you got your picture online linked to your wallet. Some people don't want that. Some people use telephone numbers, right, and so on. And what Vitalik is saying, if they're all put together, they can work, right? But unfortunately, all of us are using some aspects, not the others, right? The other exciting thing about WorldCoin, if I look at something like Bitcoin MYK that uses a process, how do we do it different? Where ours is a little bit different. We use decentralized social media accounts, something like on the Hive blockchain or the Steam blockchain, and we typically link your wallet to that. So you're not only are you decentralized, but there's a small wallet fee that probably would stop people from just creating accounts out of thin air, because if they did that, then it will become they got to still pay for the cost of the wallet, right? And it's very cheap, but still your average day hacker. And then the next step with us is we have basically a governance model, right, through groups, through like social media groups on our platform that allow you to vote out usage of people to keep minting the coins free or getting the basic income. To vote out wallets we feel are bad actors, and that's done through a democratic process, right, as you'll get to see. In my opinion, that is the least scary approach and the best approach. Now, the good thing about these projects, whether it be WorldCoin, Bitcoin, MYK, whether it be Proof of Humanity, whether it be Circles, and there have been, some up there that people understand attempted basic income. the success of Worldcoin, I think, will pull all of them up. I don't think people will just use Worldcoin. I think people will figure out these things work, and maybe these are the only projects we should be using. Because, in my opinion, Bitcoin does the least of these, right? It's a toy for the rich. It's investment vehicles for the rich. It's like gold. That was a bad money. A lot of people don't understand that gold was a bad money because it couldn't get in enough people's hands. Bitcoin can't get in enough people's hands, right? Most people don't have Bitcoin, right? And it's too expensive and this and that and so on, right? And so that's why none of these projects can grow. That's why WorldCoin is so important, right? But this is a project trying to fix a problem. Also, authentic verifications, being able to do that has been like the holy grail of what we've been trying to do in cryptocurrency for years now. It's very difficult to do that without scaring the ham sandwich out of people. And and so WorldCoin hasn't been able to do that, but WorldCoin will still probably end up better than Bitcoin because of the amount of funding it has. There's so many people in the world who are going to care more about doing that iris scan, that retina scan, and getting those coins than privacy. That's just the reality of the situation. We see it on online every day. People volunteering their privacy and doing crazy stuff online, putting their kids online, and so on. So the message of the privacy concern thing, it might be a big deal in the West, but it's not going to be a big deal in the East. It's not going to be a big deal in places where billions of people are at, like India and Africa and all those things. And when all of the East moves into something like WorldCoin, the West is going to follow, right? They're going to participate in that economy, even if they don't get an iris scan. They're probably going to buy the cryptocurrency. So I think it's going to outcompete Bitcoin eventually, right? And the use case is going to be probably more relevant and important to people, right? What else do I want to say about WorldCoin? I would say WorldCoin isn't the best model of this. I still think Bitcoin MYK is the best model, and that's what you're looking at now. It's one we spearheaded. But I would rather WorldCoin be bigger than Bitcoin because at least if WorldCoin's bigger, it will move many of you all to projects like Bitcoin MYK, the better ones I think that right now uh, are overshadowed by misconceptions and what I think to be just flat out lies about other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum and such. These are just my opinions. I think they're basically blocking us from getting to the real use cases of cryptocurrency, right? That's going to be useful to people and that's going to really bring economic prosperity to the world. And I don't think anybody can see that until they see something like WorldCoin works for good or bad, works first better. Uh, and I think that's all about I want to say about WorldCoin. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions about how you feel about it and how you think it's going to go. Um, don't forget to join Bitcoin MYK today. I think you'll have a better experience with that than WorldCoin. Also, if you're in the United States and maybe some parts of Europe, you might can't even participate in WorldCoin at this point because of different securities regulations, but it will be available soon in those places as far as I understand. I think that's all I want to say in this video. Again, looking forward to your comments. Joining Bitcoin MYK. It's like WorldCoin with all the good stuff, none of the bad stuff. But again, WorldCoin success, as I said earlier, I want to see many of these projects succeed in this particular area of universal basic income, mass adoption, and economic prosperity to the globe, and solving the problem of automation and job displacements. I definitely want to see that because I think that's a more important use case than a game, than building a game, than investing in the game, than gold, than trying to use something like Bitcoin that's going to only benefit rich people and not you, not many of you who listen to the channel. So that's all I want to say in this video, guys. The next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.